You know which reveal got me really excited for Warframe? It's not just 1999 and Whispers in the Wall, obviously that's really cool. But in my opinion, the biggest reveal in the game is the fact that we're getting catalysts in the game. Grimoires, magic books, space magic, for realsies this time, it's happening in Warframe. Oh my god. And also, one of the really subtle, dare I say, silent reveals about Grimoires was the fact that they're going to be secondary weapons. Now, folks, there is one Warframe in particular that really buffs secondary weapons. It's not Mesa, because we're here in the simulacrum with Yareli. Now, I wanted to do a video on the state of Yareli and talk about why I think she's really good. Because she is actually really good. And when it comes to secondary weapons, she has a passive that is fantastic for anyone who's looking to use a secondary weapon. While you are moving, secondary weapons get 200% crit chance. Boom, there it is, done. That's it. There's also an augment for Merulina that I'll talk about a little bit later that is also going to factor into the fact that Yareli can really buff secondary weapons. Here's the thing. That particular passive is supposed to work when you're on Merulina, because theoretically Merulina basically means you're constantly moving. But we're here in the simulacrum once again with Merulina and Yareli, and the thing about it is that this is also the case in missions. When you are moving around, you can see that the critical flow passive has popped up on the top right hand corner. Awesome. But when you're still on Merulina, you don't get the passive. It's bugged. There was a change that came out a while ago where this was supposed to be the case, where if you're on Merulina, then by definition you're moving. As you can see, when we're moving with Merulina, we get the passive, but when you're still with Merulina, you're supposed to still keep the passive. That's not happening right now, so DE, please fix that. But aside from that, we're here in the simulacrum with Merulina, and in my opinion, Merulina is in a really good spot. So, if we go up against a bunch of Steel Path Corrupted Heavy Gunners, first off, she has really good crowd control. Secondly, she has Merulina. Thirdly, she has a lot of really good damage through Aqua Blades. And then on top of that, we can also use Sea Snares for even more damage, potentially. Especially with the secondary weapon. And as long as I keep moving with Merulina for now, and eventually when it gets fixed, if I just sit on Merulina, then I can do orange crits 24/7. So that's, of course, really good. Let's have a quick look at the build that I am using on Yareli. This is the build that I'm using on Yareli. It's a 1 former build, and frankly, I would probably recommend putting 2 former because that way you don't have to use Steel Charge. There is no reason to use Steel Charge aside from the fact that it provides a lot of mod energy. That's the only reason why I have this here, and I'm too lazy to put a second former on this because, well, eventually Yareli Prime is going to be a thing. But anyway, Preparation Prime Flow, I think this is really good because when you have a lot of energy right from the get-go with Yareli, you don't have to worry about energy really for most missions. I guess if you're playing a particularly long endless mission, this is not going to make a huge difference, but either way, like, Yareli doesn't use a ton of energy with her abilities unless you're constantly spamming Riptide, in which case maybe you will be using quite a lot more energy than I do. But aside from that, like, just having that huge energy pool, in my opinion, is just a really nice peace of mind. Aside from that, though, most of this build should be pretty straightforward. We have a lot of extra power strength that, of course, provides some ability efficiency nerfs, so naturally we're offsetting that with Streamline, so that's why we have 100% power efficiency. This is enough, in my opinion. We have some range, we have some duration. Natural Talent, I think, is really good on someone like Yareli because her abilities are a bit on the longer side, so having Natural Talent is really good. With regards to Natural Talent and Preparation, you could obviously replace these with Amber, I believe Amber Archon Shards, and then you could potentially use something else. Although, at the present moment, since Yareli only has 2 augments, I haven't really thought of an alternative for Natural Talent that I care enough to talk about. But if we get a 3rd Yareli augment, then yeah, I'll probably start putting some Amber Shards on my Yareli so that I can replace this with the next augment. Speaking of augments, we do at the present moment have 2 augments on Yareli. Surging Blades is how Aqua Blades does even more damage. It already does a pretty decent amount of damage considering that it is in fact slash procs, a lot of slash procs, so that also goes right through armor, so that's really nice. But then on top of that, if you're on Merulina, you can just spam this. So there's no cost at all to throwing Aqua Blades out with Merulina. So that's really, really nice. And then on top of that, with Merulina, we have Merulina Guardian. So the way that Merulina Guardian works is that when you kill enemies that are attached to a sea snare, Merulina will heal by quite a significant amount. And then on top of that, you're going to get a lot of extra reload speed and fire rate. I want to quickly demonstrate how much healing you can get on Merulina. We're going to go up against one singular Corrupted Heavy Gunner. Okay, so I'm going to like lose a fair bit of health. I'm going to try and like... Oh, okay, sweet. Okay, so now that I have Arcade Aegis active, and by the way, my... as you can see, my arcades were Aegis and Energize. So I've lost quite a lot of health on Merulina. But if I kill this Corrupted Heavy Gunner, I've restored 5k health thereabouts on Merulina, so that's quite a lot of health. And then I do have, as you can see on the top right hand corner, there's that 200% Merulina icon. That is Merulina Guardian giving me that 200% fire rate and reload speed. So, really, really fast reloads. Really, really fast fire rates. Really, really fast reloads. Just like that. So, yeah. That's pretty much with regards to how I feel about Yareli. I think she's in a really, really good spot. There's been a lot of changes that have happened to her over the month, year almost, that she's been out. Because obviously when she first came out, she was a little bit more on the Mimi side. And a lot of people called her, quote-unquote, the worst Warframe, despite the fact that that's still in Naros. But yeah, like... she's been a lot better since. Her Riptide is a lot more useful because it doesn't just throw enemies out instantly, it actually keeps enemies inside. You can basically treat it like a very big mag bubble, so it's pretty nice. And because it groups enemies together, you can obviously synergize that with something like Surging Blades. The Aqua Blades augment, because it seems like when you throw Aqua Blades out with the augment, it is an AoE Aqua Blade that you're throwing out. So when enemies are clumped together in things like Riptide, yeah, you do end up doing quite a lot of damage. So that's really, really nice. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Riptide and Sea Snares augment is going to be, because that might give you more incentive to use those abilities as opposed to, let's say, swapping out Riptide for something like Ensnare. I guess that makes a bit more sense for the time being, but as soon as we see the Riptide augment, hopefully it's really, really interesting, and that will definitely incentivize more Riptide play instead. But either way, Riptide, in my opinion, is really, really good to use. Aqua Blades, like I've already mentioned, is a really high damage ability. It just churns through armor, and it's fine against shields. As per usual, that's only because Slash is fine against shields, not amazing against shields, so it's more of the fact that it's just doing slash damage. Merulina is really, really good at tanking because it actually does provide a 90% damage reduction regardless of power strength or anything. That doesn't scale with anything else aside from maybe ability rank. So yeah, when you're on Merulina, you basically are 10 times tankier, so that's really, really nice. And then of course, Sea Snares, it's just nice crowd control. This ability is still probably something that you can swap out for something else, provided you're not using Merulina Guardian, obviously. If you're using Merulina Guardian, you don't want to swap out Sea Snares, because that way you can make use of not just the healing that you get on Merulina, but then you can also make use of the fact that you're going to be having a lot more fire rate and reload speed on your secondary weapon. And when Grimoires come out, which is the very reason why I'm even making this video in the first place, when Grimoires come out being secondary weapons, that's going to be a really, really nice time having that extra fire rate and reload speed on your books. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. How do you feel about Yareli these days? Let me know in the comments. I don't expect a lot of people to be playing with Yareli because of the fact that she still has seemingly a bit of a negative stigma, at least in the community as far as I can tell. Maybe not anymore, but I haven't seen a whole lot of positive talk about Yareli, so I really wanted to, like, you know, give her what she deserves, which is, you know, actual praise, because she's pretty good. At least in my experience, I think she's fantastically good at pretty much everything she needs to do. So yeah, I don't really have any problems with her at all, and I actually enjoy playing her. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more Warframe content, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.